Okay, this is the third time I have tried to make this video. The first time using a brand new microphone. I have been using the laptop microphone all this time and people were complaining about audio levels, so I bought a new microphone and then I forget to plug it in. Actually, I forgot to set it up on OSB. OSB, that would be sheeting for a house, Tony. OBS, you can see it's registering now here. So anyway, this is a little cabin. The reason I'm frustrated is because I went through the process of drawing this in the video and there was no audio for it. So I'm having to go back now, not redo it because it's already drawn. But I'm going to try to go through the drawings here. I'm going to turn all these layers off. And let me turn that off. And I'm just going to turn on the grade. And so what we have here is a little Tennessee hillside. And again, this is for my friend Richard. He wants to eventually get to the States. And he wants to build this little cabin in Middle Tennessee. And he wants a basement under the cabin, so in order to have a basement, we need a little bit of a slope. We don't want to put a basement on a flat piece of land. We certainly don't want to dig a basement into level ground because that's not good. You'll have all kinds of problems. I can go into that later. But for now, I'm going to show you, this is the walls, the basement walls. That's the wrong layer, Tony. Foundation. So on a basement, we do want one wall, what we would call to daylight, like this, so that you can get, mainly so that you can get drainage. You know, these three sides of the house would drain down here and away. We would put, underground drains in to drain any water away from the foundation. And so you can imagine if this was totally underground, you couldn't do that. Well, it would be a very complicated drainage system to do. But one of the advantages of having this situation where one side is open or daylighted is that we can frame up this wall, and which is less expensive. A framed wall with siding on it is less expensive than trying to pour this wall out of concrete and trying to form up these headers. That's the expensive part, the labor of forming these openings in a concrete wall. Plus just the system itself is more expensive. So Richard wanted basically a 20 by 30 cabin, and one of the first things I ran into, one of the first issues I ran into was size, based on some of his other requirements. And Richard, you can correct me on this. We're in schematic design mode here, so all of this stuff is flexible and changeable, and that's the process. We're going to rough it out here. This is just a rough drawing, and then this will be submitted to okay, get your lips coordinated, Tony. This will be submitted to Richard, and he will say, no, I want it like this, like this, like that. And I'll say, okay. So, but one of the first things I ran into was this 20-foot depth in this direction is not really deep enough to have a garage. You would just barely be able to fit a car. And what I have always liked to do is to be able to park a car or even a truck and have at least enough room to put a bench at one end. And so that's what this kind of is based on. And he had originally mentioned that he wanted a garage on each end and then a room in the middle. Well, this 30 feet length isn't going to be enough room to put a garage on each end. And then, now I'm saying that as the way I typically build. If your requirements are less, Richard, then we can work it out. But the other issue we run into is getting these stairs down from the main floor, which I'll turn on now. And these are just rough steps. I usually block them out like this You know, they're accurate. The rise and run is accurate, but you can see they're just kind of cartooned out until just to get the configuration and the location worked out. Once I get that worked out, I'll come back and draw the stringers and treads and risers and all that. For now, we're in schematic design mode, and we're just trying to get locations of things worked out. So then that brings us to our floor plate, and I'm envisioning this floor system being out of some floor trusses. What I call, well, there's a company called that has this product called trim joist that look like floor trusses, but they're easy to cut. You can cut the ends of them to cut the links on them. But you can see here, based on the stair going down, you can see the kind of room it takes up on the upper floor level, and you have this L shape because the code requires headroom on a stair of minimum of 6'8". So I usually like to leave a little more than 6'8". So if you go to that nearest tread, it's 6'10" right there. So the other thing he wanted was a single bedroom. So let's turn on the main walls now. And let me turn on the furniture, kind of show you what I was thinking on the layout. So he would have this one bedroom, a decent size, with a walk-in closet and a bathroom. Let's turn on the plumbing fixtures. That would have a shower and a little corner sink there. Now this layout could be revised, but you would have access from the bedroom into the bathroom, and also guests could come in. Since it's a single bathroom, you might want to have a door for guests to where they didn't have to go into your bedroom to get into the bathroom. And that brings us to the living area, which again is not huge, but he didn't want a huge cabin. This is a little cabin. I've always thought it was a good idea to separate. It's kind of a faux pas to enter a bathroom right off a kitchen. So this little pantry area is our little excuse for, that's our little separator. Gives us a little privacy for the bathroom and gives us separation from the kitchen, the food preparation area. And like in commercial occupancies like restaurants, you're actually not allowed to access a bathroom from a food preparation area. So I guess that's where that comes from. But then we have our kitchen. This is just a real simple layout there. And you'd have room out here for a small round table. And then I just threw in some furniture based on this situation with the stair going down. I imagine that Richard would want a little wood stove, a place to put a TV and a sofa and whatever. Have a little place over here to store firewood. And your two main views would be out those windows, these here, and you could probably throw in a bathroom window, over the toilet. And then on this wall, I imagine that a lot of people on these small cabins that have these porches would use this area for stacking wood. Otherwise, we could throw in a window here somewhere. But again, mainly what we want to do on this schematic phase is just get the overall size of the cabin laid out, get your rooms laid out, get those sizes worked out. And then once all that basic configuration is worked out, you can go back in and then start playing around with windows. You don't want to do too much with windows and doors until you get that other detail worked out. One thing I do like to do is think about circulation. In other words, this door is offset so that you'd have this path through here. If you put this door in the middle, then you're going to be, walking into your living area. And this works out good because you can build a little wall beside the refrigerator, or you can even, enclose the refrigerator in a cabinet and have, a place to hang keys and hats and coats and stuff. We can give a little more room there beside the door if you want to have a little coat area to hang coats and stuff. But those are all the little details we work out as we go along. And then we just need some way to get down, to this lower area. I'm assuming your driveway comes in, to the garage. So maybe you have an area here where you could park and go up the steps. And again, these steps are just kind of blocked out until I figure out where they go. And once we figure out where the steps go, we can put handrails around everything. Imagine there could be a little set of steps coming off here to get to this upper area. Again, I don't know that he hasn't purchased his property yet, so we don't know exactly how it's configured. I just know that in order to have a basement, you're going to need a little bit of a slope. It'll look kind of funny if you just build a, 2-story. As a matter of fact, you wouldn't need concrete walls if you had a 2-story house out in the middle, of a flat field, somewhere pasture. So I can make certain assumptions about this based on what he wants. And then I just threw in a roof system, which was pretty cool because I think what would be kind of cool is to use these scissor trusses that would give you a vault inside, and these walls would be framed up to that vault. So since it's a small cabin, having a vault inside would be kind of neat, add some character to a small space. And of course, it also allows you to clear span out here, so you don't have any posts. You would just have handrails around. And then I threw on some logs just for the fun of it. And this is just a rough attempt, to show some logs until we get the configuration. Once the configuration's all worked out and the size and all that, the floor plan's worked out, I can come back. And what we do on these log homes, these modern log homes like this that are on basements, we would let the logs hang over like 2 inches here. And then that company that supplies the logs also has log siding. It's basically just logs that have been cut that are thinner that still have this profile, and you put them over, standard walls or over the floor system. And it just makes it look like the logs continue on down. And then down here, I'd probably recommend putting a few little roofs over these doors, and maybe even doing some corrugated. Maybe you use the same, if you're going to use corrugated metal roof here, you could use that same material to do the siding down here or something like that. But I wouldn't recommend running the logs all the way down to the ground, close to the ground. I'd have some kind of either fiber cement siding, maybe some vertical board and batten or something like that would look cool, or some metal siding down here. But anyway, in a nutshell, that's the small cabin, and really hoping that things work out for Richard and he can make it to the States and we can help him with this little project. Most of our projects like this are paid projects. You've probably seen a lot of my SketchUp videos. Most of those are customers that we are actually doing design and drafting for, and most of them we end up actually building. And so if you need help with projects like this is Richard's a good friend of mine, and this is a small project, so I'm doing it for him as a gift. But most of our projects like this we get a little fee for them. If you would like to get help, we can do everything from design, the drafting work, we do the construction drawings, we can give you a materials list based on this actual, once this schematic design mode is finished, I would go in and actually draw all the studs, the floor trusses, everything's, so that you can figure those materials, and it's just, have a pretty close list so you can know what your project costs are going to be for the materials. Anyway, I appreciate you guys watching as usual, and we'll see you in the next one. We'll do a part 2 on this pretty soon as I get feedback from Richard. Thanks for watching.